John was a young boy who lived in a small village. He was kind and hard-working, but many people did not notice him. John's family was very poor, and he had to help his father on the farm every day. He wanted to go to school, but they did not have enough money. Other children in the village often made fun of him because his clothes were old and dirty. One day, the village announced a running competition. The winner would get a big prize, a new pair of shoes, and some money. John was very excited because he loved running. He wanted to win the competition, but he did not have good shoes. His shoes were old and had holes. The other children laughed at him again. "You will never win with those shoes," they said. John felt sad, but he did not give up. He practiced running every morning before work. He ran on the dirt roads and through the fields. His feet hurt, but he kept going. His father saw how hard he was working and encouraged him. "You are strong, John," his father said. "You can do it." On the day of the competition, many people came to watch. All the children lined up at the starting point. John stood quietly, wearing his old shoes. The other children looked at him and smiled in a mean way. "You don't belong here," one boy said, but John stayed calm. When the race started, John ran as fast as he could. At first, he was behind the others, but he remembered all the times he practiced and he started to catch up. Slowly, he passed one child, then another. The crowd began to cheer. "Look at John," someone shouted. "He's so fast." By the end of the race, John was running side by side with the fastest boy in the village. The finish line was close. John pushed himself harder and crossed the line first. He won. The crowd clapped and shouted his name. The other children who laughed at him now looked surprised. John received the prize with a big smile. He gave the money to his father and wore the new shoes proudly. That day, everyone in the village learned an important lesson. They saw that hard work and courage are more important than what you wear or how much money you have. After winning the race, John became more confident. The villagers started to respect him. People no longer laughed at his old clothes or made fun of him. Instead, they saw him as a strong and determined boy. But John knew that life would not always be easy. He still had many challenges to face. One day, a man came to the village. He was a rich merchant, and he was looking for a helper. He needed someone to carry heavy bags and travel with him to other towns. The merchant offered to pay good money. Many boys in the village wanted the job, but the merchant said, "I will choose the strongest and the most hardworking boy." The boys gathered in the village square for a test. The merchant gave them heavy bags to carry. Most boys gave up quickly because the bags were too heavy. John, however, remembered how hard he trained for the race. He lifted the bag and walked forward, step by step. His arms hurt and his legs were tired, but he kept going. The merchant watched him closely. At the end of the test, John was the only boy who did not give up. The merchant smiled and said, "You have the job, young man. You are strong, but you are also determined. That is what I need." John started working for the merchant the next day. He carried bags, helped with the goods, and traveled to new places. It was hard work, but John learned many things. He learned about trade, how to talk to people, and how to solve problems. The merchant became impressed with John's honesty and effort. One day, the merchant became sick while they were traveling. They were far from the village, and there was no one to help. John took charge. He sold the goods, counted the money, and brought medicine for the merchant. The merchant recovered and thanked John. "You have saved my business," he said. "You are more than a helper. You are a leader." When John returned to the village, he was no longer the poor boy everyone laughed at. He had earned respect, knowledge, and a small fortune. The same children who once teased him now looked up to him. John used his money to help his family and to go to school. He also helped other children in the village who needed support. John's story became famous in the village. People remembered him as the boy who turned injustice into triumph. He showed everyone that no matter how small or poor you are, hard work, kindness, and courage can change your life. Years later, John became a successful merchant himself. He always remembered where he came from and helped others who faced struggles like he did. His journey proved that even when the world is unfair, it is possible to rise above and succeed.